everybody. We're back with another episode of I Lived in the 80s, and this is a very special episode, and it's almost Halloween, so it's the Halloween show. And as always, with me on the Wayback Machine is Ed and Mr. Goulet. What is up, gentlemen?
What's up,
Long time
dude?
no see.
Hey, Joe, how are you, Joseph?
I'm doing good, Goulet. How are you?
No, not too bad. I had a little dust in my undersides because I haven't been used anywhere, but you know how it is.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, I had to brush them off, but that's all right.
There's Big Dan. What's up, Big Dan?
Hey, Big Dan, how are you?
We're back with our Halloween episode. It's been a little bit. Of course, I was under the weather for a little while, so so of course, Ed started a new job, so it's been crazy.
Dan, this is like your private show because I think this is just for you. So it's just
Dan may be the only one out there tonight, but hey, what are you gonna do? We do this for the people who listen on audio too, so it's all good. It's all good.
And our friends in Australia.
Yes, and of course our two friends from Australia, from Sydney, they are, by the way. Yes.
Oh.
Yes,
Ooh.
Sydney, Australia. So, hello to Sydney, Australia.
Oh, I had this one night with this girl named Sydney, but that'll be another story.
Well, that fits the Halloween episode. I mean, you had Sydney and Scream, so hey, there you go. All right, that works. That works. All right. So, we have you know what? We're going to start the show. We have a message here, Ed, from our friend Elevate the Sky. So
get out!
Yeah, so I'll read it out loud. So he sent me a DM, and it says, hey, friends, just wanted to give you an update. I've gotten so far behind, he said, that I've decided to wait until January 2022 to release my album. However, I'm going to start working on the video for the Dreamers song and get it released in late November or December. So that's the video that you will see Ed and myself in.
Wow, nice.
And, of course, Google. So that'll be cool. And he said, I am totally down to come on the show then or wait till January 2022 or both, LOL. I hope you guys are well.
Anytime.
Miss you guys. That's what I told him. Yep. I said, anytime you'd like. I said, just keep us posted. Always love having you on. So there you go. So we got a message from Scott.
Awesome.
Elevate the Sky. So that's cool. Good to hear the update from him. All right. So the agenda tonight is, again, we're 2 days from Halloween. So, hey, you know what? We're doing better, Ed, because usually we're always late and we do things afterwards. So this time we're
miss a couple weeks. Land for Halloween. Don't be late for the show. Play it fast and loose, right?
So we're 2 days before this time. So hey, at least we didn't miss Halloween. So tonight is the Halloween episode. We're gonna talk about some weird Halloween stuff. We're gonna talk about like slasher films and the war of the slashers and who would win. We'll talk about what our favorite costumes were when we were kids, young kids. We'll talk about, and by the way, I don't know if you saw, I put it up on the Facebook. They are coming back out with those Ben Cooper costumes.
Get out.
Those 1970s ones. They have a Darth Vader and a Yoda that they're selling in Target.
No way.
They made the masks a little bit nicer, so the masks don't look so bad. But they still have that, the plastic thing that you put over the front. And they're adult costumes. They're not kids. So they're
adult.
Yes, they're adult-sized costumes of those replicas from the 1970s, and they're supposed to make the Marvel ones next. So that's pretty cool. I put that up there. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about movies and what movies really scared us when we were younger. And then we'll end the show with a lyric like we always do, and Big Dan might be the only one to guess it. So, whatever. All right. So, being that Halloween Kills just came out, we got another Halloween. Did you see it yet? Didn't see it yet. I watched it on Peacock, of course.
Was it good?
The night it came out. I liked it. I liked all the flashbacks that they do. They did some. It kind of filled in the story a little bit after he was shot in the first movie, and then they didn't really show anything that happened after that other than he disappeared. So they kind of filled that backstory in a little bit, which was cool. They got an actor, or he wasn't even an actor. He was a guy that was doing some of their set work that looked like Dr. Loomis. And they used some CG and stuff like that, made him look like Donald Pleasance. So it was kind of neat. I liked how they did that. And the gore in it was fantastic. There were some amazing.
Was it like the most kills ever in like a Halloween or something like that?
It probably was. It probably was. He just went like ballistic, and there was just a ton, like some really disgusting stuff. I don't want to give too much away. The one scene, there was a couple that happened to have been living in his house, which bad idea anyway. Why the hell would anyone want to live in that house?
We'll talk later about how to survive a horror.
We will, yes. Yeah. How to survive a slasher film, or aka horror film, yes. But he ends up killing the husband first, and then he puts him like on a kitchen counter, and then he gets a fluorescent light bulb, smashes it, and literally puts the fluorescent light bulb into the wife's throat, like right up underneath her throat. And then she doesn't die like right away. And while she's kind of like choking on the stuff from, the glass being embedded in her throat, her husband is over the counter, and he basically is going and getting every kitchen knife she has and stabbing him like a pincushion while she's still alive, watching him do it. So brutal. There were a lot of brutal scenes in it, but I liked it. I thought it was good. Some people will say they didn't like the ending. I don't know. I thought it was good. And of course, they're filming the next one, which should be out sometime next year, called Halloween Ends, which I doubt it will, because slasher movies make way too much money to ever end them. So basically the Halloween's Ed make Halloween 2 through the Rob Zombie ones into a Star Wars Legends type category. Yeah, they
rewrites the whole thing. Like,
they retconned everything. Yeah, they retconned everything. They basically went from the first one from 1978, and this one starts 40 years later. So they got rid of Halloween 2 and up. Everything else.
No Season of the Witch.
Yeah, no Season of the Although there's homages to that.
But I'll tell you, that was the most catchy theme song ever. 2 more days till Halloween. Halloween. That's like one of the most. Yeah, that's one of the most catchy. The only thing I remember about that movie, other than when they put the mask on and their face turned into bugs,
that was kind of cool. Stuff like that. Yeah, they actually make those masks now. You can
they make
the pumpkin and the witch. They have the little silver shamrock thing on the side. So I don't know
if they make money on it, they'll make it.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
They'll make it a mask of every damn thing imaginable.
Absolutely. And I said slasher films are so cheap to make. They don't take a lot. The effects and stuff like that, really not much there. They get a good makeup guy to do it.
Blood and a knife. And
they make them for so little money. And if they
go
make a couple
to the local slaughterhouse, get some sausage casings.
That's it. Yep.
Slap it under the shirt, get some blood, and there you go. You got it.
Very, very easy to make.
So, well, we all know who Joe's favorite horror person is, so I mean, we don't even have to ask. It's Chucky.
That's Chucky. Hey, listen, that Chucky series that's on now on USA is amazing.
Yeah,
people aren't watching it. Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, I love it. I was never really big into the Chucky movies. I saw the first one and the second one, I think, and then I was like, but the series is good. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, I like it. It's very good. If you're not watching it on USA, it's very good. Yeah,
I like the first one. Scared, like the original movie, scared the living crap out of me. Like I
Chucky.
I remember watching it and seeing it, and we're like, "What is this?" And then I remember he comes to life. It was like it was a voodoo. Yeah, it was a voodoo.
Yeah, the killer, the killer in it recites like a voodoo chant or curse.
He's like, and then all of a sudden, bring the power into me, and the lightning strikes him, and then he's a doll.
Yeah,
and then he comes alive, and then nobody ever had a My Buddy doll. And in fact, if you found a My Buddy doll and you would prop it up in someone's living room when that movie came out, you scared the shit out of them. Like they'd be running around like, "Oh my God, it's Chucky!" And you'd do that stuff. And then if your friend's name was Chucky, they were done for because they'd be like, "Oh God." That was Chucky, a good movie though. I liked it.
Yeah, the first one was good. Chris Sarandon from Fright Night was in that too. He was a cop in the movie. So yeah, I always like his work as well. But yeah, obviously for me it's Jason. I don't even, it's the weirdest. Yes.
What is that?
Watch your back. Watch your back.
It's just Google it. He likes to rub and tug underneath my seat during the show. He's so dirty, man. Like Google. Hey, listen, we have Dan and some unknown viewer on, so pretty much it's anything goes. Google. See, look, I caught him. He's under the seat. See, look, he even got his mouth. Oh, he's all excited.
He's excited.
Like, look.
He is excited.
Dude, you try living with this damn puppet in your house. I'm telling you. No wonder why I'm insane. Like
try. See, try. It's like Chucky. You're living with a dirty puppet.
Yeah, except he's a dirty sex puppet, and he's not a sex puppet in a good way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we go to bed at night and you're banging in this room, and then I open the door and it's like Google, he's like hanging from the curtains and stuff like that. It's like, what the hell? I'm gonna have to run him. I'm gonna have to like let him loose and just like let him come back. But then see, that's the thing. Is like once in a while I'll be like, Google, you want to go out for the night? And he's like, yeah. And then he goes, and then like I wake up the next morning and there's like just strange women in the back room here, and I'm like, anyway, go ahead, Joe.
Oh my God,
this puppet drives me crazy sometimes.
I can imagine that. I can see that. Big Dad says,
I hear that. Google, all right, go back to your business. All right.
Halloween 3 has turned into a cult classic over the years because of Silver Shamrock.
Yeah.
The story behind that, and I don't know if a lot of people know, John Carpenter didn't want to do any more movies with Michael Myers. He was pretty much done with it. He didn't even really like Halloween 2. I liked Halloween 2, the one that took place in the hospital when he went after Jamie Lee Curtis, but he didn't like it. He didn't want them to change the story of what he did with Michael Myers, where he was just kind of a killer who went after anyone. And it's funny because after watching these movies now, I go back and you watch the original, and the reason he went after her was because she went to his door and took that lease thing to the door and stuck it in the mailbox. It like the mail slot of the door. He was in there when she did, and basically he saw her do it, and that's why he went after her. And that's what he wanted to do, is just make it a random thing where he just happened to see her and he went after her, and that was the whole thing. He didn't want to make it where they were brother and sister. So when they did that, he wasn't all that thrilled about it. And then after part 2, he's like, all right, we're done. Michael Myers is done. I want to keep doing the Halloween movies, but I want to make them almost like an anthology series like Creepshow or The Twilight Zone. And that's where that came from. So then he just was, we're just going to do a movie every Halloween, and we're just going to have it all based on different stuff and different stories and stuff like that. And that's where Halloween 3 came from. Of course, it failed miserably because everybody hated it, and they wanted Michael Myers to be back, which they then brought him back for Halloween 4. But that's where the story from that came from. So,
yeah, that's like having, that's like having a movie about Superman without Superman. It was like Superman 2 without Superman.
Yeah.
Well, they did that. They had him drunk and they took his powers.
They did. Yeah, I mean, it happened in the other Friday the 13th too. Part 5, they had no Jason. Jason was some other dude. So they try these little different things that they try, but it doesn't end up working out. But yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, obviously mine's Jason. I grew up with that. I liked the movies since I was young, and then it got to be like a mainstream thing when I think it was part 6 probably, because he'd been gone in part 5. Part 6 was when he really hit the thing in the 80s with the Alice Cooper video and stuff like that, and that was probably one of the most popular ones. And that's kind of where it really kind of resonated with me. And I started with I actually bought a goalie mask because you couldn't buy prop masks back then. So I went out to a sporting goods store and bought a goalie mask and painted a big.
How much did that cost you?
Oh God, it's probably like $40. They weren't cheap. They were like over the head, those big, goalies used to wear the complete over the head masks, and they had the thing on the back. It was probably like $40 at the time. And then but it looked dumb. I mean, it didn't even look anything like it because it didn't have the holes and stuff like that. It had like all these little weird things on it and stuff. So it didn't even look that good. But listen, that was all I could get. But yeah, I mean, he was always my favorite of the slashers, although I liked, there's not really any of them I don't like. Michael Myers is really good. I mean, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw scared the bejesus out of me.
That Texas Chainsaw was very scary. That was a good one. He was creepy. And that whole thing, the family in Texas that were a bunch of cannibals and the kids getting stranded. And then at the beginning, it was based off of a true story.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, like, whether or not you believe it or whatnot. I mean, that was a freaky one. I like that one.
It was freaky too because it was made in 1974 and it
Mm-hmm.
had a very old feel to it, and even like the aesthetics and everything like that. And there was a scene where that girl that they were pretty much torturing in that house was screaming for a good probably 5-6 minutes in that movie. Like it just would not stop, and it was just so much going on with the creepy old man that you didn't know if he was dead or not. And there was just so much going on in that, and you were just, it almost kind of made you a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It really did. It was one of those movies where, like, yeah, it's like you get this like squeamish feeling about you. But yeah, I mean, that was based on Ed Gein, the psychopath who basically, I think he did something with skin where he took people's skin off and wore it or something like that. But that a lot of that was based on that.
Good
But
for
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah, great stuff, right? Good
Yeah.
upbringing.
It's a
Yes.
good world. Good world we live in, huh? Makes you happy.
The
Not bad.
director, I think Toby Hooper directed that, and they were saying, in an interview, he was saying that his parents used to say to him, "You don't behave, Ed Gein's gonna get you," and then that's what led him to do that movie. Could you imagine? But yeah,
That's
so
good. Good parents.
good parenting, right?
Yeah.
Good
yeah.
parent. But hey, listen, that was the 70s.
They're gonna get you. He's gonna eat ya. He's gonna wear your face as a face. That's good.
Like-
if you don't eat your green beans, Ed Gein's gonna peel your skin off. Wow. That's not trauma as a kid, huh?
Like the good parenting my mother did when she thought that, or when It came out, when the It TV series was on, and she got this creepy ass stitched clown doll with all these little paper, these little cloth things for legs and everything like that, and she stuck it under my damn bed. I'm like, what the hell are you trying to do? Yeah, I mean, my mom she'd read horror books before bed. I don't even know how she did it, but I used to see her. I wish she kept them, because a lot of them, oh my God, like she had the Exorcist novel. She had the novel for Halloween, and they're probably worth tons and tons of money because you can't get those anymore. But she would read these books before bed, Stephen King, stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God.
My sister had literally all of the Stephen King hardcover books.
The hardcover books.
She had a bookshelf loaded with, I think she belonged to like that Stephen King book club or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And they would send her a book. And I mean, these were like when the new ones would come out back in the day, like, I don't know what she did with them. I hope she still has them, but I'm sure they're probably worth something. Big Dan said he finds Kane from Poltergeist to be vastly underrated in terms of villains. He doesn't get a lot of love, but he was chilling. He was chilling. In fact, Joe, I see a bit of his influence in Bray Wyatt's cult gimmick.
You're talking about Poltergeist 2. The guy who kind of looked like
Amish guy.
He wore that black hat and he had the long stringy gray hair,
pasty, and yeah. Did you see that mask they were selling on Facebook? My buddy from school got it. It's the one where he looks like Bray Wyatt, but then you peel the face off and it's the skeleton underneath. Did you see they sold that? I'll have to find his Facebook thing and send it to you. It is so cool. Like, wow. I thought when I saw it, you know how like on Facebook they sell these things and they say, "Oh, this is the it's real cool for only $29.99," and then you end up ordering it. It comes from China and it's a piece of crap. Yeah. Well, my buddy got it and he posted a thing of it, and it is cool as hell. I mean, this thing is pretty damn awesome. That's cool. It's like the creepy like Joker smile. And it's like, like that. And then, but you peel the skin off and it's a skeleton underneath. Wow. It looks like Ghost Rider almost. It's pretty damn neat. Wow, I'll send it to you if I can find it.
Yeah, definitely.
I forget where he got it from. It was one of those ads that pop up. I did that one time. It was like sunglasses, and then like they automatically adjusted with like the sunlight. And I think they were like $7 or whatever. And then when you got them, like it was supposedly like you click the thing or whatever. And when you put them on, they just tinted like when you went outside, and they like took like 4 hours. They were like garbage. You know what I mean?
I took a chance on
that crap.
I took a chance on one of those masks I saw on Facebook. It was a Gene Simmons one. It actually turned out pretty well.
I saw a cool Red Hood one that I was thinking about.
I paid $22 for it, and it actually looks good. Like it comes all the way down to here, so it has like the flesh colored underneath here that goes over your shoulders, and then it comes up, and it's the face paint. And then he has the tuft of hair up here and then hair all down. It was actually pretty good. I was like, okay, it was tonight. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that it turned out so well. Kane reminded me too of the tall man from Phantasm. He reminded me a lot of the tall man from Phantasm. Again, did you ever see Phantasm?
Yeah.
That's a creepy ass film.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you. Now this is a long ass time ago. And all I remember is one scene where they were in like a butcher shop or something. Maybe we talked about it before. I think we did on like one of our first podcasts. And it was like a butcher shop. And I just, maybe Dan wasn't listening then, so maybe Dan could help us. And I just remember the cuts of beef and animals that were hanging on the hooks coming to life. And I remember everything, like all the dead animals coming to life. And it was like a horror movie, but I don't remember what it was. And I remember the movie, but I don't remember.
Motel Hell, that sounds a lot like to me.
Was it?
Might be.
I just remember the animals and the cuts of beef and all coming to life, and the butcher and the meat crisper thing or whatever the hell you call it. And I'm getting my handy dandy Post-it here ready to write down things because
it sounds a lot like Motel Hell.
But I remember they were running through the scene and they're running through like this like, I don't know if it was a supermarket or it was like a butcher shop or something. And I remember the big things hanging on the hooks and they're shaking. And I remember all this crazy shit going on. And then all of a sudden, like, just the thing started to come to life. And then my mom's like, "You have to shut this off. This is too scary for you." And then that was the end of it. And then I want to see it again. And then you know what?
It sounds like it could be Motel Hell because they were. I don't know though. We'll have to look that up too because I don't know. I could be wrong. Motel Hell I've seen a few times. And I can't remember. I don't know if I remember a scene like that. It could have been. That was a really weird movie. He would take people. He would kill people basically and plant them. He'd put them in a yard up to their neck, and then the blood from their bodies would end up like doing something to the stuff that he was planting. It was almost like he was a farmer. That was a really weird movie. Phantasm was really weird too. Look,
that was with those little
the little balls with the knives on them and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, like that. But that's the one thing. I'll tell you what. You want to watch really creepy movies? Go back to the late 70s.
Yeah.
The horror films in the late 70s that are on Shudder now. A lot of them are on Shudder.
Shudder is awesome.
Are creepy ass movies. There's a movie called Tourist Trap. Oh my god! Like this was one of the dude had. It was one of those places where you stop, like a little gas station, whatever. This is a real big guy, and he had a house that was down this big long set of stairs next to the thing, and they just got like weird suspicions from. They go, well, like the dude had a bunch of mannequins in his house, and he would wear too like these creepy looking mannequin faces and stuff. As that when he would change, it was multiple personality, of course, and it was kind of a takeoff on Leatherface a little bit because he's a big guy and he would wear these weird masks. But there was a scene where he made a person literally he kidnapped the person and he put the stuff over them so that they couldn't breathe and made them into literal mannequins when he killed them. Man, it was weird, man. There was 70s horror is really odd. The Car was another one I really liked from the 70s. That's one with the possessed big black car that I always wanted, by the way. But yeah, the 70s horror was creepy shit. It really was.
Two of my favorites that I absolutely loved were Creepshow and Creepshow 2.
I just watched the first Creepshow the other day. It was on AMC.
Awesome. But Creepshow 2, I think, was more of my favorite. I love Creepshow 2. I love those with the big giant blob and the lake that ate people and everything. Yep. That was awesome. And then the Native American, the cigar store, what was they called? The cigar store Indian that stood up front. You know what I mean? Like that was awesome. That's what they called it back then.
Creepshows were awesome.
He scalped everybody. That was oh my god, so awesome.
The first one had Sam Malone, man. Ted Danson got buried in that beach, and then he ended up coming back after Leslie Nielsen.
Well, that's what he said. No, that's Twilight Zone. That's
Twilight Zone.
Big Dan. I remember the story, I believe, in Twilight Zone. The movie.
No, Dan, that wasn't. That was Creepshow.
All right.
Yeah, that was Creepshow, where he buried him and his girlfriend in the sand, and they came back after him. And then the episode right after that, they had it was that creature that was in the box that was hidden in the college underneath the stairs. and the creature was coming out and eating everything. And the one guy hated his wife, and he had his wife go. Adrienne Barbeau played his wife, and she ended up going down there, and the creature killed her. And then the third part of that was the cockroach thing, which I thought was gross. That was the one where the dude was living all alone and hated bugs.
Yes.
And then the cockroach
turned into one, didn't he?
Yes. Yes. That was disgusting. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love those kind of movies where like little anthology movies.
Films.
They're awesome. They need to do more of them. Now, when I was like doing a little bit of research for this, when they mentioned that I never saw, and it seems awesome, and I cannot find it streaming anywhere. It was called Near Dark. Have you ever heard of it? It's gotten like praise on all these websites, and it said it's kind of like a Lost Boys, but it's with vampires, and it's like a hip, trendy, like with like heavy metal and stuff like that.
Bill Paxton's in it.
Yeah, and they said it's really good, and I never saw it. I can't believe I'd never even heard of this damn movie.
A small town farmer's son reluctantly joins a traveling group of vampires after he's yes.
I have to find it before and watch it before Sunday night. That gives me like a day and a half.
It's on cable every now and then because I see it.
I have this app called Real Good.
Yep.
And Real Good, I tried to put it in, and it says it is not streaming anywhere. So
it might be one of those movies where the rights may be kind of tangled up, and it might be hard for you to see it because the people probably don't have the rights to it. But I remember seeing. Here's a still picture from it. Actually, Bill Paxton, Lance Henriksen was in it.
Oh, I love Lance Henriksen.
Yeah, and it came out in '87. So here's a cat. There's a quick.
Yeah, I've seen.
That's a picture from it.
Yeah, it's kind of blurry.
Yeah, a little bit blurry.
People could look it up on their own.
But I don't think I've ever seen it though either, to be honest. But I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Twilight Zone, the movie itself, that was great. That was where they redid the whole William Shatner thing, with the thing on the plane and everything like that. They kind of did. That was the movie itself, of course, had that bad death that happened in that. So
I'm gonna mention my favorite because we could pretty much drone on and on and on and on for hours about horror movies, and we'll go about costumes and stuff. My favorite would be. That's your arch nemesis.
Later on, yeah.
Scared the living bejesus out of me when I was little when I saw that one because he just was the original one. The first one was scary as hell.
Yeah, the first one was scary, and then they got a little more funny.
He kind of created it, yeah. And I mean, as you got older, he got sillier, which I mean, it's kind of cool as you got older. But yeah, they made him kind of stupid. What do you call? Hey, Cookie, how are you?
Hey, what's up, son? Near Dark is streaming on Movies Here, which is on add-on for Prime Video. There you go.
Movies Here.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to look for it. Thanks, Cook. Yeah, like Freddy was kind of like awesome at the time, which he was based off like a child killer. He wasn't a pedophile. He was originally going to be a pedophile. The cool thing was that the budget was only like 1.1 million, and it ended up grossing like $57 million, which, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. They're, later on there was some like good one-liners like Claire, where's the effing bourbon and things like that. Like it got like funny. I mean, there were some good kills in that. Movie Sphere. All right, I'm gonna write that down. Like originally, like I had Johnny Depp and everything like that. Mm-hmm. That waterbed murder scene was amazing. Yep. Like, there was a lot of good kills in that movie, and it was creepy as hell. Like, think about it. How often, like, everybody has to fall asleep. How about that? They tried so hard to stay awake, and they all dozed off. Like, how scary is that? He comes to you in your dreams.
Yep.
You can't control your dreams, and this guy comes into your dreams and he kills you. I mean, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's awful. So, and I mean, he was burnt He looked terrifying. He had that iconic red and green sweater,
Yep.
and then he had the gloves that. And it's funny because I think when I was in like 5th grade, one of the kids came into school and he made a real razor glove knife. And like nowadays, like that would probably be on like CNN.
You'd be in jail.
You know what I mean? Well, yeah. Like they'd have the SWAT team there, and like it'd be like terrible. But like back then, like he just I think they kicked him out of school for like a day. And they made him write, "I will not bring Freddy's gloves."
I will not bring knives to school.
But like he was so iconic, and it was such an influence at the time.
Robert Englund talked a little bit about that too. I was just watching the thing. If you haven't seen it, watch Eli Roth's History of Horror. By the way, they have it on every Friday night. It's on tonight, actually. I think at 10 o'clock on AMC. It's really good. But he was talking about it, and he said the biggest thing that was creepy about that too is because, like Ed said, that happens inside your dreams. Everybody dreams, and there's no place to run. He was saying they could give Freddy a playground of anything. You can make up anything. It's not like you're refined to a camp or you're refined to a house in the middle of Texas. It can happen anywhere. And that's what made that very scary, was because you're like, oh my God, if I fall asleep, this guy's going to get me. And that's what he said. And then Robert Englund was talking about the getting comedy out of it too. And he said, and then it became a Freddy's, almost like a Freddy's one-liners thing. And, after parts 3, 4 and whatever, but that's the thing. They remade that film. And I like Jackie Earle Haley, but I felt bad for him getting that.
Yeah, he got a bad rap.
You can't recreate Robert Englund. You just can't. And like other ones are silent killers. You can make them anyone. Jason can be anybody under the mask. Michael Myers can be anyone under the mask. They don't talk. But with him, it's really hard to recreate that. And they probably never will. And
now the New Nightmare was good. I like Wes Craven's A New Nightmare, where like
the one where it took place in reality. Yeah.
That was pretty. It was like the ghost of Freddy, like the spirit of him. Yeah, that was really cool too. I really dug that one.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that too. That was one of the better ones.
And the only other one that I just have to give credit for, which was just probably my top ultimate, which I just thought about, was The Exorcist. That I think that's just an iconic. that movie is just iconic.
They're remaking that too.
See that now? I like the TV show that came out like 2
You're
years
gonna
ago
probably like it because the same dude who did Halloween is doing it, and he's gonna do it the same way.
I love it.
He's gonna X out the sequels, and he's gonna go 40 years from the first one, and that's where it's gonna go. So he I think is kind of following the mold of the TV show a little more. I honestly, dude, I won't even watch if a trailer comes on my TV for that. Boom, it's gone. I will not. That. The special effects that they will use for that will creep me the F out. There is no way. There's no way. No way. I was saying, nope. There's absolutely no way. But yeah. That's what I was like. Someone made up a poster for it. And what's up, Google?
Joe, you were making fun of me before, or actually Ed was. But I have, it's called compulsive sexual behavior, Joe.
You gotta see somebody about that.
I am, Joe. That's the problem. I have a high sexual libido. Okay. I have sexual fantasies about everything. And I just have these urges and impulses that I cannot control. And when it just happens, it happens. And that's Google. Google is a very, very sensual person. And Google just... It's just how Google is. I just cannot help it. And I have a condition, Joe. And you need to learn to embrace this, Joe. Okay. Once you let it go, you let it flow, Joe. You learn to embrace and flow the libido, Joe.
Okay.
And that is it. That is what my therapist says. You let the libido flow, Joe.
Let it flow. There
you go. Let the libido flow, Joe. Let it flow. That is part of my therapy, Joe.
There you go. That's good. That's good advice.
Yes.
That's good advice.
So when Ed tells you that I am like a male whore and stuff like that, please ignore him.
I will.
We're friends.
Yep, I will.
You are my brother. You are my friend on here.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. No,
you make sure to keep going to see that therapist.
Thank you, my friend.
Anytime.
Google it out. But you know what is scary, though? And let me take a minute to talk about it. Yes. Genital herpes. That is the true horror in the world. Always be careful about genital herpes. Right, Cookie? Right. Google it out. All right, whatever.
They did make a horror film about venereal. Well, it's not really. It's kind of a metaphor for it. Do you ever see It Follows?
Dan, Mr. Google, didn't you just get fired from McDonald's because you leaned against the milkshake machine when it vibrated?
That could have been him. Yep, that could have been him. Freddy versus Jason was foreshadowed in the stoner comedy senior trip when a girl asks a guy if Jason has nightmares whether Freddy can invade his nightmares. The stoner van. Yeah, yeah. I like Freddy versus Jason. It was good. It had all the stereotypes of all of that stuff, but yeah, no, I mean, I can watch. I love this time of year because you get all of these things, and we'll wrap up the movie thing because, like I said, we could stay on this forever. Mm-hmm. I was just watching The Shining, the original one with Jack Nicholson. I mean, there's movies you can watch over and over again, and they can still remain just as scary as they were. The original Saw. With the twist ending that had and stuff like that. And when you watch
Princess Bride.
Yeah. When you watch these things, it's almost like a primal thing where people just enjoy being scared. So yeah. All right, so let's switch gears and let's go to. We'll go back a little ways with our stuff, and we'll talk about costumes. And when you go trick or treating, when you're going with your friends, with your family, and stuff. When you were a kid, we all had these different costumes. We joked a little bit about those Ben Cooper ones that they're bringing back, those plastic hideous. And I had a few. My mom had a Spider-Man one, and that was the god awful worst. It looked like Spider-Man had gotten hives. Like the mask was all bubbled out in every section where there was where the webs were.
And they smelled.
Oh, they did.
They had that horrible plastic smell.
Oh, they were so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll talk about that. Let's talk about what we went to Halloween as and what were our favorite costumes that we had. We need a slasher movie version of the Avengers with all of them in it. Oh God, Marvel Zombies covered that pretty much, I think. But yeah, so what were some of the favorite things you went as for Halloween? It doesn't really matter when, younger, older, whatever it was.
Freddie Mercury about 3 years ago is probably my favorite.
I remember that one.
As I got older, I think my costumes got better. But no, when I was younger, my mom, I think somebody went as it, and then I think she borrowed it from somebody like a year later. I went as a giant gizmo one year, which was pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
I remember that one. What else did I go as? I have a picture of me as like Superman. I went as oh my God. I don't even remember half of them. I think I went as a clown one year. I think everybody's gone as a clown type, like a hobo type of
thing. My mother set me up with one of those. I remember
with like
the pack.
That's like the typical thing as a kid to go as. Jesus, I don't even remember. I think I wanted to go as He-Man one year and I wasn't allowed, and I was kind of mad about that one.
Yep.
I think you always want to go as that elaborate one, and you're not allowed. You know how Mom says, you're not allowed to go as that, and you're like, well, what the hell's the point of going as? Like, you won't let me go as what I want to go. Why do I want to go? Why do I want to go as something you want me to go as? You know what I mean? Like, that sucks.
Who remembers Starlog magazine? It was a sci-fi magazine that came out in the 80s and kind of in the 90s and stuff like that. But I saw an ad. I saw an ad for one for the Battlestar Galactica. Remember now the 70s one where they would wear the colonial jackets that had the patch on the arm, and then they have the locks that come down like the front of the jacket. I saw one and I wanted one so bad. I wanted to wear it for Halloween, and my mom's like, absolutely not. It was like $120, which in the equivalent back then was probably $300 or more. But yeah, so I'm just backing off of your story about how you wanted to go as something else. Darth Vader.
You're never allowed.
No.
Yeah.
Darth Vader was another one, but that costume was so elaborate. You could not today. You can go in any store and get a Darth Vader costume. Yeah, they're common, but back then you couldn't get elaborate costumes like that. You couldn't get good masks or anything like that either. I think the first good mask I got was like an over the head one was Michael Keaton's Batman. They had the whole cowl. They had the ears and
it's still the costume. So you just had the cowl, and would you wear like a black like sweatshirt and like black jeans?
Yeah, well,
you wear black sweatshirt and black jeans. Yeah. So you're like,
yeah, you know it's not. Like, it's not. I mean, with the armor and everything that he wears, I think I end up having a cape from something else that I ended up trying to cut into the little bat things on the back of it. Yeah.
You look stupid. How about that one year when I dressed as the creepy Burger King? And do you remember that? And I walked around the mall.
You came up with some good ones, dude. You had.
Do you remember when I went as Jesus and I walked around the mall as Jesus and I was telling everybody I loved you?
I do.
I did some stupid shit.
He was going up to people in the food court, and when they were buying stuff at Burger King, it just was standing there.
Oh, it's the Burger King. Yeah, it's McDonald's. Mm-hmm. You remember I was standing there and I was like, "This is."
You were giving them dirty looks.
I was going like this. There's the creepy Burger King.
Yep.
And I was just standing there in that costume.
Yeah.
And I remember when I for breakfast I pulled up to the drive-thru as the creepy Burger King, and I pulled up to the drive-thru, and I'm like, I said, can I have like a couple of Chris sandwiches or whatever? And they're like, sure, it'll be like $5.99. And then I like pull up to the drive-thru, and then like you're the worker, and then I just did this. As the creepy Burger King, and I go like this, and I wave to them, and like the worker goes like this, and then all of a sudden, like I see like 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Burger King worker, 4 little, and they all just like start looking at me, and they're like, I can't believe it's the creepy Burger King, and I'm just going like this, waving to them, and they're like laughing, and I'm like, oh my god, why am I doing this? And oh my god, that was an awesome.
Did they give you free? I think they gave you free food then.
I believe they said, yeah, here you could just have it, because like that was funny. But I had like the whole King outfit. I had the white color. You remember that? That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you had some good ones. You did the Greatest American Hero one year too, with Ralph Hinckley's hairdo with the curly hair.
I did that too. But that was awesome when they did that. And then the Jesus, I remember walking around the mall telling everybody I loved them. You remember that?
I do.
I'm like, I love you.
You had sandals. You had sandals and everything with you.
I had the full everything, and I kept walking up, and I'm like, I love you. I love you. And remember, I'm walking up, I'm like, hi, I love you. I died for you. Remember, I was telling everybody, I'm like, hey, just remember, I died for you. You owe me one. I'm like, you owe me one. I died for you.
Yeah.
And they're like looking at me. Remember the old ladies, all the dirty looks I was getting from all of them.
Oh man.
And that is why I'm going to hell. That is why. Yes.
Oh my God.
Son
says, I love Starlog. Some family of magazines. Yeah, that was a great magazine. That and Fangoria, of course.
Fangoria was awesome.
Yeah. They tried to bring that back a little bit ago, but of course it didn't take off. Magazines are done for. Oh God, Ed, the Jesus costume makes me think of Airplane 2 when the lady talks about her husband taking bad acid and thinking that he was Jesus Christ and jumping off her roof.
Speaking of that, there was a show that was on. What was it on? I keep saying Toonami. Whatever that's on. Cartoon Network. Black Jesus. That was one of the funniest shows. I think there's still 2 seasons. What's his name died on it? Eddie Murphy's brother. He just passed away like a few years ago. He was on it. It is one of the funniest shows you can ever watch. It's about this guy. He's a big giant guy, and he's a black Jesus, and like he does Christ-like things, and he's in the hood. And oh my God, if you get a chance, watch it. There's reruns of it. It's absolutely hilarious. I was instantly hooked on it, and I thought it was one of the best shows. But you have to watch it, Black Jesus.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Very, very funny.
I was always jealous of my friend that I grew up with. Her dad was really good at making costumes, and he would make her and her sister these amazing. At the one year he made them like alien costumes, but they wore these big, gigantic, oversized alien heads made out of like plastic domes, and they had teeth in them and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is the one where I was at my house the one night, and again, I'm probably like maybe 12, 13 or so, and we had an enclosed porch. And I hear the door open. It was Halloween, and so figuring kids are coming like that. And I hear this dum 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 on our front porch. Like, what the? So I go out and I look, and now we had one of those doors with the 3 windows. So you had the lower one, the middle one, the upper one. So I look in the middle because I wasn't that tall then, so I could see kind of in the bottom one really well, and a little bit out of the middle one. So I look in the bottom one. I don't see anything. I look in the middle one. I see like where his chest is, and I'm like, holy. And then I look up and I see, and it's and I didn't know who it was. I thought it was some dude was just going around trick-or-treating. Here it was my friend Kim's dad in a Frankenstein costume.
Really?
Oh my god. He had bricks in his shoes. So I don't even know how he walked, because he literally lined the bottom of, he put like taped bricks to the bottom of his feet to make him taller. Now he was pretty tall anyway, but oh my god, when I saw him coming in, I'm like, dear guys. And I remember coming up on my mom. I'm like, Mom, there's some man that's in a Frankenstein costume out on the porch. My mom comes out, she's like, what? And then she's looking outside and she's like, oh my god, who is that? And then he ended up telling us it was Timmy from that. And I'm like, oh my god, it was one of the coolest costumes I've ever seen.
There's our Dan trivia quote. Charlie
Murphy. He also played Prince on Chappelle, and Black Jesus was also the nickname of 70s Knicks star Earl of the Pearl Monroe. There you go. Trivia.
There's our sports. Thank you, Dan.
Go. Trivia for the night. But yeah,
I can't believe I forgot that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
See? So, how about, you remember driving around and when people would decorate? Like, it seems like, some people do. We went around this year and like looked at some porches and stuff where people put like, Halloween decorations up. But you remember like back then, it just seemed like everybody had like all the mannequins up and all the lights and all that stuff. Like, it just doesn't seem like people do that nowadays,
Yeah, I don't know whether they're afraid to do it because they figure somebody's going to mess around with. Like, you'll see some stuff. Like, I saw one online where the guy got really clever. Like, there's one now where you can buy like a 7-foot skeleton that you could put out like in front.
They're everywhere. The 12-foot ones with the googly eyes.
Yeah, but
everybody has them now.
This guy though literally had like a split level home. And he had, the taller side of his house, and then the lower side. He took he made a skeleton eye, and he put it above the split level part of his home, and it looked like a giant skeleton was like erupting from his house. It was the coolest thing. It was so awesome. And the guy, he must be very, very talented, because he sculpted this thing, and you could just see like the part of the eye, and then the bone arch over top of the eye. And I think he put like part of an arm and stuff like that, like extending from his house. Oh, it looked amazing.
Hey, Nancy.
Nancy's here. What's up, Nancy? How are you? But yeah, it looked amazing. But no, you're right. You used to see a lot of, back in our day, we didn't have a lot of stuff like that, but you used to see a lot of people would put sheets out. They'd get the ghost sheets and they'd fill the sheet with like some kind of filling in the front, and they'd put the black eyes on the thing, and they'd line them up on posts and stuff around their houses. Some of the people did actual haunted houses too.
There was one down by us. There was actually a few by us that like they would actually have like things that would like growl and like werewolves. Nancy, you live down in Wilkes-Barre. There was that one down by the dike down there. Because my aunt and uncle lived on Plymouth Ave, and there was one down there, down by Plymouth Ave, that I can't think of the street, but I know my aunt and uncle lived down that way. And there was one I remember going to every year. I think it was like a yellow house at the end. And they had their whole front yard that was like completely filled with all the like the mannequins and all that stuff. And every year I know my parents would take me by there, and it was like the Old River Road. I know there was one down there. I'll have to Google map it, and I'll tell you. I remember. I know there's one on Old River Road too, and then there's another one in Plymouth. just past the armory or the National Guard place in Plymouth. There was one down there too. Like, because I remember the bushes. It was like a horseshoe bush, and like they'd have the grass yard, and then there's a big horseshoe. They're bushes, and they fill that whole grass yard. And I mean, it was crazy. They had everything there, and I mean the same thing. I mean, there'd be cars, maybe because the cars would line up and it would block traffic. Maybe they were told by like the local zoning officer or whatever, stop it. Who the heck knows? But I mean, yeah, same thing. And just nobody does that anymore. It just seems like it's few and far between. Even the ones that we knew of around here that did it every year, they stopped. Like it's sad.
Yeah, people move on, and but yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff it's when you were growing up, you lived in some of these small towns that where you knew everyone, and so like I mean, oh my God, the candy we would get, I'd come home, I didn't even have enough room in a bag that I took with me for all the stuff that you get because you can go to everyone's house, but even that, a lot of the stuff just stopped because people are afraid. There's a lot of people who are scared of doing it. Yeah, it's a shame. But some people had amazing stuff like that. I mean, some people would have the smoke machines outside their house, and all that kind of stuff. And they'd go through. I would have loved to do that at some point and just have people go like whether I had a yard set up or something like that. I got to actually be. I don't know if you knew this. I got to be. What was it? Maybe now too. But the year before COVID, my cousin's son called me up, and there's an old mining town that they do up every year, and they have this
Tresco.
Nope, it wasn't Tresco.
That's the only one I know by you. No,
it's out by Freeland somewhere, Eckley, the Eckley miners village. They do every year with a big Halloween thing, and
no way.
They go around and they had a corn maze. So my cousin's son called me up and he's like, Joe, you want to come out and do you want to scare some people in the corn maze? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you don't have to ask me twice. So of course I dress up as Jason. I go in the thing and he kind of puts me in an area of the maze where all the people have to walk past, and I basically jump out of the corn. So I'd come out the corn stalks and stuff like that. Oh my God, it was the worst. It was the best time I ever had in my life.
Really?
They would set it up, and you would know when they're coming. People would yell in and stuff like that. So when the people would come in, and I would just come out, and you should see some of the kids though were hilarious because some of them knew who Jason was, and they're maybe 6-7 years old, and they'll come and they'll look, and they'll just give you that look, and they'll look up at you like this, and then they'll look at you as they pass by, and then some of them are giving me high fives. I'm like a murderous killer who kills people in a camp, and you're high fiving me. But it was great.
That's funny because it's like kids nowadays, like they're just immune to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I mean, our parents would have. They were like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, it's different. The kids. All right.
One of the guys at work, he volunteers. He's been doing it since like the 80s, I guess. Horror Hall. Then how about those? Like those were awesome going to those, and they still do it. I'm glad to see that they still do that stuff. It makes me very happy. I guess COVID put a damper on a lot of that stuff, but I'm glad to see all those things. So Nat said, the hospital used to X-ray your candy.
Yeah.
Big Dad says my mom made us a haunted house in 1982. She wouldn't let us trick or treat that year because of the Tylenol murders. Yeah, and it's funny. I don't know if I posted something in our group. But I think only a few weeks ago was the anniversary of that. It was the Tylenol murders with the where the idiot was putting arsenic or something in the Tylenol in them. But yeah, it was 40 years was I think the anniversary of it.
There was a little homage to the razor blades and the candy in the Chucky series. I think in episode 2. Where he's actually going trick-or-treating. He's dressed up as a Hello Kitty. So Chucky the doll's walking around. He has a Hello Kitty mask on. He goes up to this woman and he gives her a piece of candy. And then later on you see her, she comes out and her whole lip and everything like that is all cut because he put a razor blade in the candy. So all right, let's talk. Go ahead.
I was just saying, what's so funny is my mom, I was just talking to my mom today, and I was talking about taking my daughter. We were talking about taking her trick-or-treating on Sunday. And this just tells you the age of our parents. She said be careful taking her trick or treating because they put razor blades in candy.
Oh my God! Yeah.
How funny! And I mean, she's old.
Yeah.
And I mean, how funny is that though? You know what I mean? And I was just laughing because I'm thinking, you know what I mean? Like, wow.
You never knew if that was an urban legend that somebody made up, or
but
maybe
I'm like, God love her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's she said that when she took me trick or treating. And that was, 30 some years, years ago. And now, I'm taking my daughter trick or treating and she's saying, now you better be careful because they put razor blades in candy. And I'm like, oh my God.
And back then you had those little straight razor blades, which weren't small. The only way you could ever fit one of those things in anything was if they gave a person an apple. And at that point, the kids,
which kids are going to eat an apple?
Yeah, they're going to throw the damn things in the garbage anyway. So no one's going to eat. Like, there's no way you're getting a straight razor blade, which was like a big rectangle in a Twix bar.
And I felt like saying, well, Mom.
Seeing it,
and I feel like saying, well, Mom, if they do, okay, then I'll just use it on my head anyway. You know, they're going to be helping me out, right?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, yeah, it's... All right, so we got about 5 minutes or so left. Let's get to the how to survive a slasher film real quick, and then we'll go into the lyric before we leave. So there are rules, and we all got this with Scream, which is why I love Scream, because Scream kind of took the horror film and turned it inside out and made fun of it by itself. But so how... You guys shout out in the chat, Nancy, Dan, and Sean, and whoever else happens to be there. So what are some rules to surviving a horror film, especially a slasher film? I always have to almost kind of giggle at some of them and when I watch them, I think to myself, and my wife has said this too, why don't they just run? Like, why do they stick around? Especially when and I mean, I guess you could say this is almost a Zombieland thing with the double tap. Why, when the killer is down, why don't they just go over to him and just continue to stab him, whether it's in his head, wherever, until he's dead?
Well, here's the thing: is if he gets back up, though.
I guess, but I mean, at that point, it's always a thing where the guy is not dead. The guy is not dead. Like, or when you initially stab him, just don't run away. Just keep doing it. Just keep whatever you're stabbing with it. Keep doing it.
Cookie and Nancy never split up. Nancy, no sex. Like, those are definitely top 2 rules.
Yeah, in a slasher film, especially in Friday the 13th, you can. Yeah, if you have sex in that film, you're dead. That's pretty much it. The good girl is always the final girl in the film, usually. So yeah, that's a good one. Don't split up. Always stay in groups. I mean, there's just stereotypes to it, and it's always like, what's that commercial now that they show all the time where they're running away? I don't even know what commercial it's for. It might be an insurance commercial or a car commercial or something, but they're running away, and the guy says, let's go take there's a car running there, and they're like, let's go escape in the car, and then the girl says, no, we need to go hide behind the chainsaws in the garage. And then they go, and there's this whole big wall of weapons that they hide behind. It's like, they're just stupid. Like,
how about you don't ever say I'll be right? Oh, Cookie, I said never say I'll be right back, because that's true.
Yeah, it pretty much means you're dead.
Yeah. How about you don't ever go to like a party or like a prom? Don't ever go to like the prom. That's pretty much a guarantee.
Slasher movie called Prom Night.
Or a camp.
Camping, camping's usually a bad one. Thank God I didn't watch a lot of those films before I went to Boy Scout camp when I was a kid, or I never would have gone. The swimming at night alone usually. What is it with? I mean, skinny dipping, they called that back in the day. You really don't ever see that. Like, I've never known anybody to go night swimming, especially not wearing clothes. Don't let the camp cook's kid drown.
Yeah.
If you drop the killer, don't check on him. Run. Yeah, dude, like, just run. Just keep running. Don't stop. Like, don't stop going. And you just, again, that's something you just don't see. You don't stop. Drugs and drinking. Oh yeah. See, and that stuff goes back to they were trying to come up with ways to dissuade people from the things they were doing in the 60s. And the way that they did that was to have the killers kill off the people that were doing all that stuff. So that was one of the ways that they built that into horror films.
How about if like some creepy guy gives you a warning, you listen to it? Like, you ever notice in some of the movies, like some odd guy will say,
that's
the town where the three are, and like they're just like, whatever, dude, and they walk away.
Yeah,
and,
like crazy Ralph in Friday the 13th on his bike says, if there's a death curse. I mean, yeah, dude, like if the dude says it to you, get back in your car and leave. Just pile back in your car and go away.
And make sure your car works. Like, make sure you have gas. Make sure your spark plugs are good. Make sure you have jumper cables.
Yeah, because the car never starts. The car never, ever starts. How about like in the older movies too? How many were with the thing with the phone? Yeah. Don't answer the phone. I mean, if you are alone in a big, humongous house, and most of the time it's a mansion that these women are alone in, don't answer the damn phone. And if a person calls up and he's doing like prank call, if they call back, don't answer. It's just don't pick up the phone. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's funny. Like when you watch a lot of these things, you think to yourself like, what would I have done instead of what they did? And would you survive? Like could you survive an attack of a Michael Myers or of a Jason Voorhees or something like that? And you're always sitting in the theater and you're like, don't open the door, don't go there, don't do this. But yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
Oh, how about that? Speaking of crazy, listen to the crazy people. Like that's a good one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how sometimes the nut, there's always like the Or how about like when if you're the new person too, or the new people, like don't make new friends. Like sometimes like the new friend is the crazy one.
Yep.
Or don't pick up a hitchhiker.
Oh, that's gone wrong many times.
There's so many rules, like just common sense
the
stuff.
Hitcher. I mean, don't for a film like Texas Chainsaw, don't take the long dirt road that goes nowhere. Stay on a highway that's populated.
But what about like what was that one with the trucker that ran them over? Jeepers Creepers. So that kind of screwed it up.
I thought you just meant Joyride with Rusty Nail for a second when you were talking about truckers.
Jeepers Creepers. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeepers.
So, I mean, that kind of screwed you because you're on a highway and he's running you over. So I guess.
Yeah. It's. I mean, yeah. There's so many things I guess you could do differently when you look at some of this stuff. I mean, the haunted house ones like Amityville Horror, leave. The Poltergeist. I mean, how much stuff do you need to see before you realize, like, I need to get out of here? They saw the ghost in Poltergeist kind of come walking down the stairs at one point. I mean, what do you want it to tell you? Now, I get it. The Poltergeist.
Just sell the house, move out. You know what I mean?
Just leave. I mean, if you hear a house talking to you, it's time to go. It's time to get out.
Well,
it's time to sell the house.
I mean, to be fair, he did move out, and then he and Luther started a coaching thing. They went to Minnesota and they coached.
I was just watching Coach the other night on some retro channel.
Yeah,
that's great.
And then Dan, at the end of Dan's long thing in there, he said the sheriff won't believe you, so don't call. I mean, that's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the cops never believe it.
Yeah, they don't believe anything.
Yeah. It's not like they would ever send a car out to go try and check.
And then when they do, the cop usually gets killed by the killer anyway, so they can't help you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, well, we're going to end the show with a lyric like we always do. Thanks for joining us. We know it was short notice. We switched our days up a little bit.
Now, next week, I have to work next Wednesday, so we won't be doing next week, but we'll do the following week. So just want to let everybody know.
Yeah, it's me a little bit.
My schedule, my new job, my schedule is going to be kind of wonky for a little while. So we'll just pay attention to the group and Twitter and all that, yada, yada, yada.
Yep. We promise we won't miss Christmas and Thanksgiving.
No. But
all right, here it comes. Here is the lyric. This should be relatively easy. All right. I was struck by lightning walking down the street. I was hit by something last night.
Oh my God.
Sleep. Everybody's coming. Leave your body at the door.
Oh my God, it's easy.
Leave your body and soul at the door. Yes, it's an easy one.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
It's a classic song for an appropriate.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Yeah. Anybody get it? We have all of 3 people out there that can guess.
The Wiz? Thank
Wiz.
you, Nancy.
Thank
we
you.
needed that this week.
Yes, we did. Yes. We always need the Wiz from Nancy. Yes. Yes. We will have a dedicated Wiz show someday.
We will. Nancy will be our guest for the Wiz. She can dress up.
Here, I'll give you another lyric and see if you can get it out. I'm all dressed up with nowhere to go. Walking with a dead man over my shoulder. Don't run away. It's only me.
It's a dead man's party, Joe.
Google gets it.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. It's Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo.
Speaking of that, Joe, there is no dead man's party down there. Because of that high sex drive, Joe. Speaking of that, tonight's Friday night. Guess what I'm doing?
You're going out, aren't you?
Oh, I already got 3 women lined up. And some guys and a pack mule. Woo! Google out. Google's having fun tonight.
Well, we know somebody's going to have a fun Halloween.
We all live vicariously through Google. That's all I got to say.
We do.
We do.
And you can see the Ecto Cooler background up there. By the way, Ghostbusters is coming out soon, too.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Me either. That looks really good.
It does look awesome.
I'm excited for that. It looks like it took some elements of Stranger Things, which took elements from Ghostbusters and mixed it in. And yeah, it's going to be good. I can't wait. I'm excited.
I can't wait. It really does.
All right. Oingo Boingo was playing at a bachelor party when Stan was shown making out with a girl at the party, says Big Dan. More facts from Dan right before we end.
You know what? I'm kind of sad that, he kind of went on to movies, because I would have liked to seen some more albums by them. I think they would have done some good stuff.
Yeah, they were kind of ahead of their time a little bit.
Yeah.
More of a punk band, but yeah, they were good. They were good. All right, guys, that is it for our Halloween episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We had a good time sharing memories and stuff like that, like we always do. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the new YouTube channel that we have.
That's been playing throughout the whole show.
Yes. Please make sure you do that. Please make sure you like the video as well. And hopefully we see you all again when we come back. And we'll keep you notified as to when that will be. We'll keep talking to Scott from Elevate the Sky and see when he wants to come back on as well. And hopefully he'll have a video to show everybody when he does too. So that'll be awesome. So thank you very much, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween to you all. And hopefully we will see you all again next time on I Live the 80s. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.